All right, we are now live. We are live. Welcome to another episode of The Shift, sharing helpful insights in freight technology. Want to say not good morning, good afternoon to my LinkedIn family, to my YouTube family. How's everybody doing? Today I have a very, very special guest, man, a friend to the show, a friend of mine, a friend to Truck and Hustle. Came on the show before, what was it, like last year, Anthony, when you were on?
Beginning of this year,
Beginning
January, actually.
January
Yeah.
this year, lit it up, had a great reception, and now you're back, man. We thought you were exiting, but it seems like you're coming back, man. What's going on, Anthony? How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Rahmel?
Man, I'm good, man. As always, blessed, highly favored. Getting ready for Freight Fest. Super excited where you'll be joining me on that stage. We are now 6 weeks away officially from Freight Fest in Houston, Texas. So, Anthony, man, your new thing here, man, FinPark. You've been in the truck parking space for quite some time. You had a successful exit. You're a serial entrepreneur. You've helped consult many different transportation and logistic businesses. So, talk to me, man. What got you excited and got you back in the game, man? Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know what? I've always really wanted to still be in the game. When we did sell our company in 2021, we had a non-compete. Just it's pretty typical in the industry to have a non-compete after a company goes through an exit. So I definitely wanted to be back in it. I went to Zoom so that during my time during my non-compete, I guess I can call it. It was a great time there. I enjoyed, first of all, getting to know the founders more, getting to meet a lot of great people, learning a whole nother side of the business, learning about the digital freight market and software and how that all kind of works together with the carriers and the shippers and how they come together. Coming back now into truck parking, I'm super excited, super stoked.
Got it. Got it. All right. Well, talk to me. Let's just, for the people who are watching, you just now kind of mentioned you had an exit. You worked with Zoom for a little while doing some consulting. Talk to me about how the FinPark thing came to be. Was this something that was already in existence? You joined the team. Is this something that you created from grassroots? Talk about how this whole thing came together.
Yeah. So first of all, just to kind of give a little bit of background, add some more color on FinPark. So FinPark is a division of a company called FinLock, which is actually the financial lending arm for a company called Manac Trailers. So Manac is an OEM. They manufacture trailers. They're based out of Missouri. FinLock is based out of Montreal, Canada. And again, they're the financial lending arm. So for those, the transportation companies, the truck drivers, owner operators, I guess you would call them, that might not have enough capital to go out and buy these trailers, they become the middleman, right? They become the lending source.
Right.
So they've already existed. It's a corporation, first of all, so completely different than a startup. FinLock has been around for about 46 years, and FinPark it's a brand new thing, right? It's a brand new division. They have been tracking me for a while now. In fact, we have a sister company called VHub. They're in trailer repositioning and rental, so kind of like a Freight Vana, if you will. They're I guess you would call him the person who's in charge or chief revenue officer is JD Redman, a good friend. I'm sure you know him as
I'm
well.
familiar with JD. Very good guy.
Absolutely. So yeah, he's been tracking me for a while. So it was him and this gentleman named Jim Coffran, who's our chief product officer. They've been tracking me way back. I think they said 2020, 2019. So really watching me at Truck Park. Really like the idea of parking. But I guess when I sold, I think JD reached out to me. I'm trying to remember, like going back now, JD
Yeah.
had reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'd love for you to do parking." And that's when I was in my non-compete. So I said, "I'd love to. I have to wait a year, but when I'm done, let's do it." And so once that pretty much happened, fast forward to now, they hired me in May. So my non-compete expired in April or end of April, early May. They hired me in like end of Mayish, maybe early June. And I just been really working with the development team and trying to get truck parking, back up and running. It's a software, it's a marketplace again. So in fact, I could just tell everybody now on Thursday, we're officially launching. So again, that's Thursday, August 24th.
There you go.
And again, that's a marketplace. So it's going to be just like Truck Park. It has one side, the supply, the other side is the demand. And we're putting the underutilized assets, which is basically the parking lot owner. They're able to have a truck driver find, reserve, and pay for parking in real time.
Got it. So what was interesting to Finlock about truck parking? What made them want to get into that side of the industry? If you can kind of just get into that really quick. Why was that interesting to them? And how are they going to be different, or how are you guys going to be different than other platforms that are out there already existing? Or let's say Truck Park, for example.
Yeah. So first of all, I guess let's go with the differentiator.
Yep.
So Truck Park, and then FinPark. It's so close. I always trip myself up there
Yep.
because I was stuck in Truck Park for around 5, 6 years. But I guess the differentiator at the end of the day is not really much in the product necessarily. It's the fact that we're able to scale so quickly. I guess to somebody who asked the question, it's the startup versus the corporation, right? So with Truck Park, it was a startup. It was my first startup, so humble myself now. Didn't know really what I was doing. I was trying to just figure it all out. This time, I know what I'm doing. It's my second time in truck parking. I can hopefully call myself an expert in the space, and I'm actually running at a 4 to 5x in terms of growth what I did with Truck Park. So, for example, we already have 80 locations. So we're going live on Thursday. We have 80 locations. When I went to market with Truck Park, we had 20 locations.
Got it.
So 20 locations, 80 versus 80, 60 more. We had around, let's see, with Truck Park, we probably had around 1,200 spaces. We're at 7,000 total spaces now.
Got it. And that was going to be my next question. What does the go-to-market strategy look like? You said you're launching, going live officially on August 24th, right?
August 24th, yes, this Thursday.
So you were able to, I'm sure, leverage a lot of the network and a lot of the contacts you've had from being in the business for so long. Tell me about the different types of spaces that are available. What regions are you guys strong in? Is there any particular markets that you guys are, really bullish on? Just kind of tell me about what you guys already have kind of solidified, and then what you're looking to build in terms of location wise.
So the geographical perspective, first of all, we did this very strategically. So we looked at all the major markets. We always go after the metropolitan cities, usually where parking is going to be most scarce anyways. And so we've covered a lot of the U.S. major markets. So actually, let me add, we've also covered a lot of the heavy freight corridors. So the I-10, we got parking along the I-10, we got parking along the 412, we got parking along 90, 95, which is there in Chicago. We have locations in like cities like Dallas, Texas. So if you're going through Dallas, which is sometimes really difficult to drive through, especially with all the pickup trucks, and it's just really hard to find parking, especially in like I said, in these metropolitan locations. We make sure to actually add parking there. And again, these are secure locations. So what I mean by secure, and everybody always asks that question, secure parking is fenced in perimeter, man guarded, and also gate pad or keypad with a gate entry, so exit and entry points as well. We don't want to work with a location that's open. So, I always say no offense to the truck stops. I think they run a great business, but they're really focused on their fuel and their categorical items. We're focused on providing the best and most secure location to truck drivers. So if this was a long time ago at Truck Park, if you're US Express and you're hauling toilet paper, you probably don't need a secure location. But if you are hauling like Apple products or LG TVs or cameras, you most definitely want to park at the secure location.
Got it. So, I mean, that could be a differentiator right there, because are other platforms kind of open to like non-secure locations where you guys is kind of like a part of the criteria to be on the platform to be secure?
Yeah, no, of course, I'm not going to give any names, but I have heard other aggregators or marketplaces that are working with the rest stop areas. Rest stop areas are great, right? In fact, the United States, that just passed legislation for basically church and state, right? For states to actually add parking into their own Department of Transportation. But rest areas are typically just open, right? And they're open to the public, and trucks can park there. Sometimes, like if you're camping or whatever, you can park your RV there. And it's just, I don't know if it's necessarily dangerous. It can be dangerous. We just want to make sure that they're fenced in, right? That this truck driver can go to their sleeper berth and they can actually have a good night rest and have a reset. Because that's the biggest, besides truck parking in general, has so many different verticals, right? Or different, like, let's call it octopus tentacles, right? Tentacles, things that are going on. One of the tentacles, excuse me, and I can't talk today, is the fact for sleep apnea, right? Sleep deprivation.
Yep.
So drivers often, because they're trying to meet hours of service, or they couldn't meet hours of service, they have a penalty, or whatever is trying to go on. In fact, 96% of truck drivers are searching for parking at night. 76% of those are searching for parking for more than an hour. So you're exhausted. It's been hours on end. You've been maybe in detention for 2 to 3 hours. All you want to do is sleep. But if it's not in a scary area, you're probably barely sleeping. You're like sleeping with one eye open, trying to figure out if something's going to happen. Our secure locations, and this is a long-winded answer, but I'm very passionate about it. The secure locations provide the drivers, both male and female, the ability to finally sleep and have a good night's rest.
Got it. As you go to market, like the chicken or the egg type of thing, what's more important to you right now? Are you looking for more locations, or are you looking for carriers and people looking for places to park? What is the thing where you're focusing more of your energy?
Chicken and the egg model is a great analogy, because first of all, that's how you build marketplaces. You have to start with one side of the marketplace. So we've been focusing on building the supply, because without the supply, the truck driver is not parking. Truck drivers, because truck parking is one of the largest, if not the largest, issues or problems in transportation. We're trying to provide the drivers, again, with that safe and secure parking. We're trying to provide the drivers the ability to find these locations. And how do we do that? Well, we build up the supply. We figure out which locations out there are safe. We do a whole vetted process. In fact, salespeople, and they're doing a phenomenal. But our process is not just, okay, you're interested, let's put you on the platform. Our process is, do you meet these, this list of criterion? If you don't, then maybe we come back to it in the future if they can meet, our pre-vetted process, right? So it's very strategic the way we do business.
Got it. And tell me about the business model, about, how people sign up for FinPark. How does that look to the carriers and the truckers out there looking for parking? What do they need to do to sign on to the app, especially as you guys go to market and launch? What should they be doing?
Yeah, I think the best thing is just to download the app. It's super simple. So we made it very easy. This is something that I've learned with Truck Park. You can't make things complicated. If you make things complicated, it doesn't matter if you're a truck driver or you're an executive. You're just going to bounce off the app. So how do we do that? How do we fix that potential problem? Well, you make it easy. You put your phone number in, your email, and boom. Now all of a sudden they can just sign up. I think they put their first name, their last name, their DOT number, or maybe their MC number, their license plate, and they're good to go. They're ready to go park.
Got it. Can you speak to me about price? How does price work? And does it differ based on regions, where you're parking, based on the lot? Can you talk to me about that and how that works?
Yeah, so pricing is variable, right? It's just going to, like you said, it's going to vary based on region. It's going to vary based on city, state. Every state's going to be different. It depends on, again, the scarce level. So if you're, for example, in New York, where typically prices are more expensive anyways, whether you're a consumer or you're a driver, it's going to be higher no matter what. Like, more rural locations, maybe not really Dallas. We have a location in Midland. I think we have a location in El Paso now. Those are going to be a little bit less expensive. The rule of thumb here is that the average parking rate is about $20 overnight and $150 for the monthly parking.
Got it. You before we jumped on, you mentioned a concept to me about first generation truck parking versus second generation. Can you expound more on that and what that is and why that's important to FinPark?
Yeah, so first generation parking is so funny. I was just saying this maybe on BCB Live or another podcast, but the first generation of parking was just getting into the space, right? It was just Truck Park was the first, historically now speaking, the first overnight parking marketplace ever. Also, we had a competitor, but it was called Secure Space. They were the only competitors. So it was just Truck Park and Secure Space in 2016, and that was all that existed. Today, there is an average of I would say at least 12 to 15 aggregators, just like us, 12 to 15 different marketplaces. They're out there solving the same need. Now, we need that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different space now. Before, more, not drivers, because it's always been an issue, like parking's been an issue probably for 3 decades, but the issue was the carriers. They just didn't, I mean, I'm not saying all carriers, okay? I'm not using an absolute, not all carriers, but there was a majority of carriers. Now, maybe majority, but 40, let's call it 40% of carriers that just didn't see the need. They're like, drivers can go find parking. I mean, it's not that big of an issue. So today it's like, oh, there's a big issue. We want to add it to our, employee plans. We want to add it to the retention plan. But back then it was kind of like out of sight, out of mind, if that makes sense. Also to investors like, this is a horrible idea. Like nobody's going to want to pay for parking. Now today, and I'm kind of going back and forth to show comparison, today institutionalized investors, angel, venture, hedge funds, they're all in this space. And it's easy because parking lots as a land grab opportunity. There's not a lot of overhead unless you buy a warehouse and then add parking around it. But just a land grab and buying a parcel of land is a low buy-in, but there's such a high reward to it. So now you start seeing the difference between coming in as truck park and secure space and playing in a space where it was just really difficult. And today it's kind of easy now because like everybody wants to sign up. Everybody wants to be a part of this thing. That's the difference between first and second generation.
Got it. And you mentioned that other aggregators, you said that's good for the industry, right? You don't feel that's a bad thing?
No, not at all. I mean, there is 3.5 million, let's call it maybe a little bit less today, 3.1, 3.2 million truck drivers and roughly 500 to 600,000 parking spaces. So it's still a lopsided market. There's still plenty of market share. That means there's a lot of untapped market out there. So, I mean, having 12 to 15 is going to solve this issue a lot faster than just two people or two companies did, 6 years ago.
Got it. Can you talk about some of the features of FinPark, outside of just signing on and being able to access, see the truck parking available? Are there any special features that you guys have that maybe you added that you learned from, truck park that you said, hey, I want to add this particular feature to the product because I saw there was a need for that last time. Can you speak on how you developed the product?
Yeah, building truck park too is like trial and error, right? So that was something that I really appreciate now doing it a second time. It's like, okay, let's not do this or let's do that. This is going to be so much more successful. So one of the key differences is for drivers to park, right? So drivers can park on truck bar, drivers can park on FinPark. Yes, I understand that. But I guess the duration of time, that's what I'm getting to. So we weren't really sure back then the duration of time. So we just gave the drivers, this is the very beginning, it was like maybe the first year, 12 hours. And drivers would come back with their feedback, like, we want 24 hours. And we would do the data, we would aggregate all the data, like, you're only there for 8 hours until you're resetting and then you're back on the road. And then eventually we did 24 hours. But then I learned now, and I was talking with the developers, I said, why don't we do 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours and 24 hours. So now they have all these different times. They can park for a couple of hours, maybe because they're just trying to rest, or they can park overnight. And we just we did it this way because it gives drivers autonomy now. Now there's like, well, maybe I'll just take a couple of hours so I can get some rest and then I'll get back on the road. Because there's a 30-minute rest period break too they can do between the reset. So they can take the 30 minutes. I think we actually might have a 30-minute too, which is really cool. So that's overnight parking. Now getting into monthly, you can do, I think it's 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, all the way up to 90. So we're giving drivers different preferences now versus just booking month to month and having to continually to on the payment side to go back and make the payment through the app. They can book ahead of time, so it's prepaid. That makes sense. So those are the differences, the duration of time.
Does make sense. Talk to me about customer support. Are all the, I guess, vendors, or what do you call your people who have the land, have the truck parking? What do you refer to them as? What would be their name? Like the
I always say operators.
The operators.
Probably the
Okay.
best term.
So
Yeah.
are all the operators responsible for their own like support or customer service, or is this something that you guys handle high level through the app? How does that work if somebody has a problem or has an issue?
So there's two differences. One is the customer support, and then the other one is the technical support. Customer support is more like a call center. So we actually have 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. We really focus on the graveyard shift, if you want to call it that, because drivers are typically parking between 6 p.m. and 2 a.m. That's typically when they're parking. So usually during the day, like you can still call and it's not going to ignore your call. We'll still have a call center, I guess, 24 hours, but the 12-hour shift, if you will, I think we have maybe 4 or 5 different people in circuit, right? So they're constantly asking calls because we expect to have a pretty large volume this time around, especially with remember I was talking about earlier on with the lineage of companies, Mid-Act Trailers is our parent. Well, excuse me, they're an OEM and they've been around for forever. So they have all these carriers that they're already part of their network. So we're leveraging our network. We expect this to go crazy and like immediately, get attention. Driver's going to be downloading it. Carrier's going to be signing up. Broker's going to be using it. So with that being said, we wanted to put together a strategic call center together. So we have 4 or 5 people total.
Got it. Who is your ideal customer for FinPark? Are you guys looking for the larger carriers to support this product? Are you looking for smaller carriers? Who are you going to market looking for?
Yeah, so that's the beauty of parking. We deal with all 3 market segmentations. So what does that mean? We deal with carriers, we deal with brokers, and we deal with the shippers. Everybody needs truck parking. Does the shippers necessarily need truck parking? No, but they could utilize some of their vacant land or maybe their additional spaces for the drivers. The brokers, they want to be broker of choice. It's a perfect opportunity for them to be broker of choice. They go to their carrier network. They say, hey, look, we provide parking. Carriers are like, oh, great, perfect. We provide parking. Now they're broker of choice. Carriers, of course, and then drivers, of course. So yes, all market segments are used.
Got it. Is there any type of special pricing if you have a larger fleet or any type of, month to month deals that you guys offer? Is just kind of like, based on what you book is what you kind of get? How does that work?
So this actually is a perfect opportune time for us to talk about a feature that's not out, or technically not out today, but it won't even be out on Thursday. It's going to be out in about 6 months, and it's called a voucher feature. So it allows the larger fleets, right, to book parking in bulk, okay? And then once they book parking in bulk, they'll probably just get a discounted rate attached to it. So that answers your question on the pricing side, right? So, let's say they book 100 spaces for 6 months. They're going to probably get a 5 to 10% discount per parking spot.
Got it.
Drivers.
Got it. The bulk discount rate, right?
Yes. If you say it fast, it's like a tongue twister.
For sure.
Bulk parking. Yeah.
What has been the most exciting thing for you just in rebuilding? What have you learned this time around? What is the main things that you're kind of doing differently this time around to be successful with FinPark?
Like I said, it just being an expert now, like knowing geographically where truck parking is most scarce, having that kind of data almost makes you dangerous, right? Like I know what to do. I know where truck drivers need to go. I have the, I guess you can say the leveraged network, right? I built a lot of relationships with carriers, brokers, and shippers, made a lot of friends in this industry over the years. So now I can go back and leverage those connections, and I'm going to be able to build so much faster.
Got it. And we're super excited for the launch. You said August 24th, correct?
That is correct.
So is this on iOS and Android? The app is available on both?
That is correct. So there's no difference. Obviously, the difference is the marketplace. But yes, go to iOS, go to Android. They'll be available on Thursday.
That's amazing, man. Anything you want to leave the audience with? I always love to leave with entrepreneurial gems or jewels. That's just what I do. Just leave the audience with something and then we'll wrap up.
Absolutely. Man, Last time I know I left a good one.
You
So
did. So,
I
so the
gotta
pressure's on to leave
I gotta
another
come up
good
with
one.
another gem. Yeah, yeah. I would honestly say that we are just accepting everybody. Like it doesn't matter. We want to be inclusive. We want to be diverse. We want to do things the right way. We want to make sure that everybody's safe and secure. I think one of the biggest things, maybe not like to leave with something, but we're really focusing this time on the female drivers. So we're going to do a big partnership with Women in Trucking. We're really excited about that. It's a big partnership. Ellen has built just a phenomenal organization.
She
It's a new
has.
CEO now, but we're so excited about that. Like we want to make sure that female drivers are secure, they're safe, they're not afraid to go park at a location or a truck stop or whatever. They're going to be in secure locations 24/7, and that's our goal. That's what I guess I'll leave with today.
That's great. Yeah, Women in Trucking is definitely a great organization. And I love that you guys are focusing on keeping our women safe out there on the road, man. That's amazing. All right. Well, listen, man, Anthony, I can't wait to see you at Freight Fest in about 6 weeks. So I have to plug that. Anybody watching right now, make sure you check out www.freightfest.com. Go get your tickets September 28th through October 1st. You'll see myself, Anthony, and a whole host of other amazing individuals in the building. Anthony, man, I'm excited for you. Congratulations, man. You know, since we connected, we've always hit it off, and we've continued to work together and try to add value to each other. And I'm always here. The Truck and Hustle family is always here supporting you and whatever you do, man. So just keep us posted. Let us know how we could help.
Absolutely. And hey, you got to say hustle fam is my favorite thing.
Hustle fam, hustle fam.
Hustle fam, hustle fam.
Listen,
So
we are out. This has been another amazing episode of Shift. We are sharing helpful insights in freight technology. Myself and the CEO of FinPark, Anthony Petite, we are out.